As can be deduced by those who are aware, the title is a reference to something. Specifically, it refers to Act 1, Scene 5 of Hamlet, where the Prince of Denmark happens upon the alleged apparition of his father demanding justice for his perfidious murder. A conversation between Hamlet and his friend Horatio ensues as the latter struggles with the veracity of the encounter, with Hamlet pivoting towards believing the supernatural, and Horatio, having been schooled at university in the medieval scholastic tradition, expressing his doubts concerning the ghosts. Hamlet chides him and remonstrates against his dogmatic adherence to a singular worldview by saying, now rather famously, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy," which is to say that the ghost having been seen, Horatio should make for the allowance of his existence despite what he has been taught. However, there is another interpretation, which is that dogmatic adherence to any one thing makes for small minds and limited perspective. In this vein, consider this video both an exposition and an exercise in housekeeping. The formative years of MGTOW content on YouTube were, intellectually speaking, exciting times, roughly from 2011 to 2013. It was in this period that some of the best MGTOW-related content was produced, some of the most groundbreaking theses were offered, and at the end of it, the veil had largely been lifted as to what constitutes female nature and how the sexes interact. It's not to say that no content on such matters followed in subsequent years. I consider 2 videos I've produced, Pumpkin Spice Latte and A Conflict of Moral Interest, to be both substantive, relevant, and contributive to further illuminating female nature, both of which were released after that period. However, we must remain honest. The so-called golden age of MGTOW content has long been gone. And if comparisons were to be drawn between this and, say, the literary traditions of Rome, where there was a golden age of literature, followed by a silver age, which was then followed by a long, dismal, undefined age, then suffice to say we are most certainly dwelling in a post-silver age. The luminaries of a bygone age are ghosts of the past. Barbarossa is largely gone and defunct, Spetsnaz is also largely gone, and what constitutes most MGTOW content is a repetitive collection of the dangers of dating single mothers or personal anecdotes involving relationships or marriage. And to be sure, there's nothing wrong with this sort of content, but it is about as insightful and educational as a block of wood, which is to say, not at all. It serves its purpose nonetheless, and yet that purpose is not mine. To me, MGTOW has always been about the exploration and exposition of human nature. And though relations between the sexes are an important, or perhaps the most important component of this, there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in this realm of secluded thought. Human nature is complex, multifaceted, and interwoven. One can only rarely speak of one subject matter without touching on, inadvertently or otherwise, at least a few others. And the moniker of MGTOW means little to me. I could just as easily burn it as I could continue to bear it on my breast for the world to see. Either way, it's not of much importance to me. My life and my personhood are very much MGTOW in structure. I desire neither marriage nor relationship, and I value freedom, peace of mind, and quietude above all else. But this choice is not an ideological one, and whilst many men might seek to emulate it, and still others would reject it, it has no greater quality to it, other than that which most appeals to me as an individual. As the human world is unimaginably complex, it demands of us, as we explore, a willingness to branch out and consider things that had previously gone unconsidered. Think, for example, of the full disclosure of human sex differences that virtually all MGTOW-minded men endorse, and for good reason. They explain male and female behavior, and explain by and large how society got to where it is today. It should come of no surprise to anyone, then, that an exploration of the differences between human genetic populations can be, and is useful, in explaining phenomena in the world and human behavior. To eschew this is to deny one fundamental aspect of human nature whilst promoting another, all the while pretending to maintain a stance of being interested in the truth, inasmuch as we can discern it at all. The list of subjects that practically beg for explication and exploration is too numerous to cite, but certainly include nutrition, evolution, economics, politics, genetics, reproduction, science, philosophy, and much more. And I do what I can to explore such topics, either by myself, when I deem myself sufficiently competent, or through interaction with others, when I deem myself to lack such competence. The world turns and demands our attention, and only those adrift in the sea of their own myopia cannot see this. And let me say, towards them, I harbor no ill will, and they are free to continue to be as they are, but should be aware that here we seek to traverse vast oceans of knowledge, that will inevitably cast us into uncharted waters hitherto unknown and unnamed, but far grander than any small sea. We will struggle as we endeavor to navigate these waters, because they are foreign, but in doing so, we shall gain familiarity and consequently a greater understanding of their inner workings. This is the enterprise at hand, and one that cannot rightly be denied by anyone with a passion for learning and the need to understand the world he dwells in. It might not be comfortable, and at times foreign waters can be dangerous, but with great danger can come great reward. And yet, as we look out at the landscape, we see great swaths of land and water, walled or otherwise dammed off to public intrusion and introspection, because the powers that rule us have cast ill will upon anyone who would deem to tear down those walls and dams. But crucially, and I believe most of you recognize this, we cannot and will not proceed as a species and civilization if we collectively seek to only travel through such ensconced regions. It brings us no benefit and consigns us to perpetual ignorance and regression. Many of you see this and understand this. The realm of the human in all its inglorious facets is ours to explore, and MGTOW or not, this is how I go my own way. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.